It's the truth. It's the most heroic thing we can do now. Look the truth in the face.
What's going on? This is Justin Thomas with TopShelf Fandom. Make sure to subscribe if you've not already, and if you'd like to support creativity, check out the Patreon link in the information below. Today we're going to go over one of the biggest issues most people take with the final season of Game of Thrones, and that's the choices made for Jaime Lannister's arc. We're also going to clear a few things up, looking at the evidence and specifics of Jaime Lannister's arc and attempt to determine if going back to Cersei is inconsistent with his development, or is in contradiction in any way with the characterization of the true character in which the show depicts up until the series finale. Now, just to be clear, I hate many things Jaime did in the last two episodes, and just like my opinion on many of these issues present in the final season, unfortunately for Game of Thrones, derives from rushed storytelling. In this case, the core issue being the lack of time between the romantic relationship with Brienne and the separation from said relationship. This is jarring, and I believe it was handled poorly, resulting in a story showcasing the lack of internal struggle, and it was mostly motivated by external events, leaving lots of people unhappy and confused about if this was a case of a story that abandons an arc of a character, or a case of just rushed storytelling, showcasing actions that are true to the character and story arc but aren't established as well as they could be, mainly because of the speed in which the decisions are made and actions carried out of this character, as well as a lack of internal struggle, which is never great when dealing with a series like Game of Thrones. Inspired by A Song of Ice and Fire, written by George R.R. Martin, who is a student of Faulkner, who once stated, "There is nothing worth writing about other than the struggle within one's heart." But I'm not in agreement that Jaime going back to Cersei is inconsistent with his arc, nor does it throw away all of his character's progression.
I think we can outfox a 10-year-old.
And my husband.
I'll go to war with him if I have to. They can write a ballad about us. The war for Cersei's cunt.
Let me go. Let me go.
Let's first lay out the framework for what's needed within a story to depict a character's arc, as well as how much a character actually changes versus how much our perception has changed. In other words, characterization versus true character.
That's where Ned Stark found me.
If this is true, why didn't you tell anyone? Why didn't you tell Lord Stark?
Stark? You think the Honorable Ned Stark wanted to hear my side? He judged me guilty the moment he set eyes on me. By what right does the wolf judge the lion? By what right?
The Kingslayer!
Jaime. My name's Jaime.
Bye, Sir Jaime.
Evoking empathy for both sides, if not completely changing sides.
She want the same thing.
He saw us.
It's alright, it's alright.
He saw us.
I heard you the first time. Things I do for love.
This does make it a little bit more difficult to determine whether a character's journey be one of redemption or not. Is Jaime himself looking for personal redemption or societal redemption? And finally, looking at the story as a whole, are those within our fictional worlds supposed to forgive Jaime? Are we as the audience supposed to forgive Jaime? Of course, it can be none of these or all of these. True character cannot be displayed without conflict.
The first time. The things I do for love. I'm sorry for what I did to you.
First, start with the two major types of conflict. Internal. This occurs when the mind of the character is torn by competing values or needs. Jaime faces this on all fronts. He's forced to decide between honor and duty of institution as well as his honor and duty to his family.
I fight for the Starks, I fight for the Lannisters. Swords, lances, teeth, nails, choose your weapons. And let's end this here and now.
You don't know me well, Your Grace. But I know Sir Jaime. He is a man of honor. I was his captor once. But when we were both taken prisoner and the men holding us tried to force themselves on me, Sir Jaime defended me. and lost his hand because of it. Without him, my lady, you would not be alive.
Valyrian steel.
It's yours.
I can't
It
accept.
was reforged from Ned Stark's sword. You'll use it to defend Ned Stark's daughter. You swore an oath to return the Stark ghosts to their mother. Lady Stark's dead. Arya's probably dead too, but there's still a chance to find Sansa and get her
From the
somewhere.
very beginning of Family, in which we start off the series seeing the execution of a man who is in fact telling the truth, but the man has technically broke his vows, so his head must come off, since the law is the law, and we feel Ned is an honorable man.
I know I'm a deserter. I should have gone back to the war and won them, but I saw what I saw. I saw the White Walkers.
Should have the idea that the Stark's good intentions and honor are existing in a dishonorable world, or at least a not completely just world, making this a story in which we need to take into consideration that the world in which all of our characters reside in, just like our own, is not truly a just world. But nonetheless, we do feel like the Starks, for the first few seasons, just as the first few chapters in books, are the standard for what's right and what's wrong in this world. They don't ask many questions. They do what is said to be right, not what they might feel is right themselves.
Law is law, my lady.
Tell Bran he's coming too.
Ned, 10 is too young to see such things.
He won't be a boy forever.
Essentially what we need to do is put into perspective what Jaime did that we didn't like, when was that due to a bias, versus actions that are truly evil.
How could you be so stupid?
Calm down.
He's a child. 10 years old. What were you thinking?
I was thinking
He
about...
tells his father what he saw.
We'll say he was lying. We'll say he was dreaming. We'll say whatever we like. I think we can outfox a 10-year-old.
She is a truer knight than you will ever be. Kingslayer.
Kingslayer. Onway, I have more honor than poor old dead Ned.
What did the Mad King say when you stabbed him in the back?
If that bias is with us outside of the story, or if the bias is within the society or institution character within the story. It have to be put into perspective. Judgments on Jaime and Cersei's relationship can be judged without recognizing our own bias. We as an audience justifying actions and condemning those of the Lannisters.
Wife, I don't want children.
What do you want?
Jaime really is an embodiment of the struggle within the human condition, one of the best examples of how George is influenced by Faulkner.
Like me.
Strangled his son with your chains.
He was in my way. Any knight would have done the same.
You are no knight. You have forsaken every vow you ever took.
So many vows. They make you swear and swear. Defend the king, obey the king. Obey your father. Protect the innocent, defend the weak. And what if your father despises the king? What if the king massacres the innocent? It's too much. No matter what you do, you're forsaking one vow or another. Where did you find this beast?
Jaime killed his king to save hundreds of thousands of people, including his father, but is deemed a Kingslayer because Jaime does the right thing in a society who claims he does it in the wrong way.
I never asked. Did he call you a traitor?
Burn them all.
Jaime's interaction with Ned is a clear example of this internal conflict becoming one of external.
Why is he still alive?
It wouldn't have been clean.
Spend too much time worrying about what other people think of you.
I could care less what anyone thinks of me.
Yeah, that's what you want people to think of you.
If you haven't learned by now, you never will.
When you hear them whispering Kingslayer behind your back, doesn't it bother you?
You know what they call me? Kingslayer. Oathbreaker, man without honor.
For example, during season 1, you see a lot of great instances of this, especially when Ned talks about why he doesn't compete in tournaments.
I don't fight in tournaments. Just when I fight a man for real. I don't want him to know what I can do.
Jaime sees Ned as somebody that's hiding behind the veil of chivalry and honor, whilst Jaime himself, whether or not it's true, sees himself as somebody that is truly honorable, since his duty and honor have come to him with a lot more baggage.
Must be strange for you, coming into this room.
for the screams, of course. And the Mad King laughing. And later, when I watched the Mad King die, I remembered him laughing as your father burned. It felt like justice.
Is that what you tell yourself at night? You're a servant of justice. That you were avenging my father when you shoved your sword in Aerys Targaryen's back.
Tell me, if I stabbed the Mad King in the belly instead of the back, would you admire me more?
You served him well. When serving was safe.
He doesn't see himself as one with the luxury just to make the simple right decision, since literally everything he does is in conflict with one oath or another. Clear as the story goes on, obviously once we see the Tower of Joy and Jon's real parentage, we do know that Ned has gone through this through some extent as well. But again, it's how both men are perceiving each other externally in what they're dealing with in our story, which I do believe that Jaime's character is both supposed to be redeemed to us and within the story.
Gamblers has a nice ring to it.
And how many lives have you saved?
500,000. The population of King's Landing.
In order to get a clear view of his arc, his redemption arc, and what he needs to be redeemed for, it's also important to take note of how and when he seeks redemption. Characters and moments in which show us who our character is, and characters and moments in which change who our character is. Is this a external influence that affects him internally? I believe Bran is the first external influence, and Tyrion works as the second.
Do you want me to apologize? I won't. We were at war. Everything I did for my house and my family. I'd do it all again.
The things we do for love.
You must be proud of yourself. There's really nothing you wouldn't do, is there?
For my family, no, nothing. I would do things for my family you couldn't imagine.
Tyrion is your family.
He's not.
You don't get to choose.
I do, so do you.
So why have you abandoned your house and family now?
As well as events. Characters in events externally change our characters' internal motivations, goals, desires, needs, and wants. External, of course, the losing of the hand, letting Tyrion out of prison, his talk with Marcella right before she dies.
I'll be here with you.
It took too long.
What are you saying?
I'm saying you took too long.
Go away. Are you going to order him to kill me? I'm the only one you have left. Our children are gone. Our father is gone. It's just me and you now.
There's one more yet to come.
Give the order then. Because this goes beyond loyalty.
So is part of Jaime's journey a struggle to overcome his need to be perceived as a man of honor within an institution or world that consistently puts him in situations which he has to choose between what the institution and society says is honorable that he needs to be redeemed for, what Jaime feels he did wrong, what Jaime feels he needs to be forgiven for his own personal reason? We do in fact see that Jaime does need some societal redemption. He needs people to view him in a different light. This is revealed in one of the first scenes and best scenes of the series with him and Tywin.
You know, that's what you want people to think of you.
It's the truth.
When you hear them whispering Kingslayer behind your back, doesn't it bother you?
Of course it bothers me.
Secondly, does Jaime yearn for forgiveness for actions, not just the acceptance of the actions by society? Meaning, is he looking to get literal redemption in the sense of he is forgiven for his action, or is he just looking to have acceptance, meaning we gain an understanding of why he did things, which is a big aspect of Jaime's character.
Knighted and named to the King's Guard in his 16th year. At the sack of King's Landing, murdered his king, Aerys II.
Thank the gods you're here, Stark. About time we had some stern northern leadership.
Glad to see you're protecting the throne.
The things I do for love. Strange thing, first time we cut a man. Realize we're nothing but sacks of meat,
blood and some bone to keep it all standing. Let me thank you ahead of time for guarding us all from the perils beyond the wall, wildlings and white walkers and whatnot.
Acceptance, meaning we gain an understanding of why he did things, which is a big aspect of Jaime's character. We don't forgive him, per se, for things that he's done in a lot of senses, but we understand where he's coming from, and that's the key to character, is having empathy, not sympathy. You don't have to root for him, you don't have to love him, you don't have to feel bad for him, but you have to have empathy. You understand what they're doing.
Sitting on some dusty shelf somewhere, completely ignored. But that's all right, isn't it?
All boys dream of becoming knights. The boys with talent dream of becoming Kingsguard. The boys without talent, well, I wouldn't know. I remember the day the Lord Commander wrote my name down in the White Book, the official record of the Kingsguard. At 16, the youngest member ever to join. Knighted by Sir Arthur and Sir Barristan for valor against the Kingswood Brotherhood. An outlaw had decided to try his luck against a lowly squire. He wasn't using his head, so I took it off him.
Brienne provides an opportunity for Jaime to showcase how he's capable of being selfless, and provides a viewpoint outside of his family or any institution that he's a part of, such as the Kingsguard or just plain being a knight. And it showcases that others are willing to accept him and see the good in what he's done in both the past and present. A love connection is not the driving force of this relationship. It doesn't spawn from sexual desire or yearning for romance outside of Cersei. It's validation outside of Cersei. She shows him that he isn't incapable of finding a way to honor both what he feels is right, but also what the world will see as honorable. But Jaime is conflicted, just like many of us were watching this story, myself admittedly. His redemption would be achieved only via romantics, and...
Yes, I think you're right.
What are you doing?
What?
I think you know.
I truly don't.
We have never had a conversation last this long without you insulting me. Not once.
Maybe you're allowed to too. You've got the hair for it, not the looks. You want me to insult you?
No!
Good. I came to Winterfell because I'm not the fighter I used to be. But I'd be honored to serve under your command, if you'll have me.
I better get back.
His one-night stand with Brienne clears up this misconception. For him personally, he stayed true to who he is by going against Cersei to fight for a just cause, even when it demands he is to break his oath to Cersei to do right by the people. In personal growth and perception, aided by Brienne, allows him to do this. Within the people, he himself has or does see as discrediting a lot of his honorable deeds in the past and actions on the premise they're achieved through breaking of other oaths. So Jaime continues to stay true to who he is by returning to Cersei. Since his love has not been lost for her, but he's just been able to get to a place where it no longer stands in the way of his other duties and vice versa. This is not a journey of a man who needs to change who he loves. It's a journey of a man who needs to learn not to allow his actions and who he is to be dictated by the ones he loves, nor a morally corrupt society or institution. He thought his void in his heart would be filled by being with Brienne, which is understandable and is true in many people's real lives. We often mistake companionship, admiration, and a connection for being more than platonic. Brienne allows Jaime to both show the world within our story as well as the audience who he was. He was able to open up about his past and present deeds, also an example of someone who the institutional and societal norms and guidelines say she can't be the person who she truly is. She fights from the outside to be honorable despite the institution's hypocrisy, in which, in the end of our story, we officially mend by making Brienne a knight through Jaime, which at heart she has always been and arguably the most honorable knight in the Seven Kingdoms at this time, but now she's one according to the societal and institutional standards.
Kneel. The warrior. I charge you to be brave. In the name of the Father, I charge you to be just.
Means redemption in the sense society is making steps towards the future of the people, and the other side in which he's had to struggle to be honorable from within this very institution, Brienne has shown him the way to be redeemed outside of the same institution and societal standards. So he has a better understanding of what a knight can be and what a knight should be, and he's opening the doors for that in the future. So Jaime is seen by many as needing to resolve all his issues through Brienne, which this just isn't the case on a number of counts. Number one, the romantic relationship was something that he was trying to just trying to see if he could love outside of Cersei. He was trying to step away, but to actually smooth out this within our resolution, meaning play it so it's sold to us, a quick edit of mine would have been to have the relationship depicted in a way that allows us to come to this conclusion ourselves and accompany him on the journey. But they again choose to stay true to the sentiment, but didn't bother to make an effort to truly sell it to us. Jaime should have showed signs of disappointment and sadness after the one night stand that turned out to be not the answer for all of his problems. Surprise, surprise. But instead, he is as happy as can be until he hears the news of Cersei.
Always wanted to be there when they execute your sister. Seems like I won't get the chance.
Jaime Lannister as a character is very much disenfranchised, desensitized with the very world in which he lives in. The institution that he resides within up until the very end, the Kingsguard, is not one he sees as an honorable institution. He sees what blind faith institution does, so he's petty and he is not respectful to other institutions such as the Night's Watch. He is disrespectful to other families because he sees his own family and how hard it is for him to just love who he loves. The one brother who accepts him for who he is shunned by the rest of his family. His love is not accepted in this world. He was honorable in a dishonorable world, and he has been shamed for it. He sees the folly of blind loyalty in those like he respected and admired growing up. Arthur Dayne, Barristan Selmy, Gerald Hightower, all these honorable men, arguably the most skilled Kingsguard in the last century. And who did they protect? King Aerys, the Mad King. They were honorable in a dishonorable world. The most able knights in the world sat by when King Aerys burned and abused his family and his court. Jaime has to learn to get over these issues of family, institution, and how others view him. He does this. He has good moments. He goes against Cersei to learn to be happy with himself as well as not have his actions dictated by Cersei. In a perfect world, he wouldn't be married to Cersei. Nikolai Kosla, the actor who plays Jaime Lannister, voices his opinion on this and says it just wouldn't be realistic. And it is important to remember that everything we sell the show on, it's a version of tropes. There's no hero, there's no good or bad. In all these aspects, it's gritty, it's layered, it's realistic. These are all the things we get mad about. When we don't get the hero that kills the bad guy, which, again, supposedly both don't exist, but, you know, when the hero doesn't kill the Night King, we get upset. When we don't have a full redemption arc for somebody that's not capable of full redemption. We've seen him backslide, we've seen him go through it. It's one thing to say the execution left a lot to be desired, and another thing to say that they threw away 8 years of character progression. Jaime Lannister doesn't make sense to be with Brienne. Nikolai Coster-Waldau is going to probably say the most positive things possible, but I do tend to agree with him on this. Guys, make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Check out the Patreon. Just over a month, I'll be at the Count of Thrones on the Age of Heroes panel, so looking forward to that. So if you want to help me out on the PayPal or on Patreon, a few dollars from you makes a huge difference for me, and I will see you guys soon.